I was waiting for them to finally announce if Porzingis was going to play. So they just said he's not playing. All right, what's that mean? How are we going to attack this game? Does it mean I like the Mavericks? I don't love the Mavericks tonight. I lean towards the Mavericks. I don't love them. What I do love is them to finally score. I think without Porzingis, I like Gafford tonight. I like Derek Jones to score. I like Kyrie and Luca. I like the Mavericks to score. Without Porzingis in there, Celtics are going to lack the rim protection. The Mavericks are just going to feel better offensively without his, gigantic arms just getting in the way and blocking shots and all that different stuff that he was doing the first two games. So I definitely like the Mavericks to score, but I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot of things that can happen here tonight. And the Celtics, I generally think when one of the best players gets hurt or doesn't play the next game, the role players play extra good. So it is the NBA Finals, but it wouldn't shock me if the Celtics won tonight. I just don't know. I don't have a great feeling for how the Celtics are going to play. I'm curious to see how it's going to look, hoping it's a good game. But what I do feel confident about is that the Mavericks they were going to attack regardless if Porzingis was going to play or not. But without him in there, they're certainly going to attack. And a lot of these shots, if you look back at the first two games and you're like, did the Mavericks get the shots that they wanted to get? In a lot of situations, they did. So I was obviously wrong about the total in game two. I think they get there tonight. I just don't know if the Celtics beat them. I think it's going to be it's one of those games where you go into it and you're like, I could see this happening, I could see that happening, and as soon as you start doing that, it's like a sign not to bet, right? And that's what I was saying about the Orioles earlier today. Is it if you can talk yourself into any bet, any investment, you can always talk yourself into it. But in your gut and your feelings, if you're like, I just don't love it, that's usually the best sign to stay away from it. And that's how I feel about the Celtics props. I don't know if I like Tatum tonight. I don't know if I like Brown. I don't know if Drew gets there again. I could see it happening. I could also see them only scoring 88 points and the Mavericks just stifle them and the Celtics are settling for bad shots. But I could see the Celtics scoring 125 points. It's just hard because I haven't seen them without Porzingis against the Mavs. So I just don't know exactly what that offense is going to look like. But defensively, I feel very confident after watching those first two games that how much of a deterrent Porzingis was. Like really, really messed with the messed with the Mavs, just having his presence out there. So as soon as you eliminate that, I mean, Horford isn't very big. They don't have anybody to bring off the bench. I mean, they got Luke Cornett and Bryson or Brissett. I mean, those aren't rim protectors. Those guys are just they're guys, frankly. No disrespect, but that's just what they are. They're not going to deter Luca and Kyrie from getting to the paint and getting these lobs. And if as soon as these lobs, I think that would be the number one sign. If you're betting this game and you're like, you know what, I want to take your advice as far as live betting, because I always say if you're really betting a lot of money, significant money, live bet the game, watch the game, see what the tempo is. My sign would be if the Mavs get some lobs early, then the total should really go over. Like the Mavs should get there, no problem. And that would be the number one thing I'm looking for. They're going to run the high pick and roll. Luka's going to come off of it. And I think Luka and Kyrie are going to be way more aggressive. Sometimes they both have a tendency to probe the defense, so they'll come off the pick, and instead of just going straight downhill, they'll survey the defense, see what they have, maybe trying too hard to make the perfect play. I saw a lot of that from Kyrie. I don't think we see that tonight. I think Kyrie's going downhill. I think Luka's going downhill. And as the Celtics start to switch and the Mavs are able to get to that 10, 12 feet away from the basket, that's when Porzingis makes a huge difference. His long arms and just not being there. I do think the Mavs score, but yeah, not to sound like a broken record, I just don't know what to expect from the Celtics. So I don't like betting unless I have a strong opinion. That's the philosophy that I'm speaking into existence. It wasn't always the case because gambling's fun. I mean, you can't help it, right? Like if you like to bet on sports, you're gonna watch the game. It's hard not to want to bet. So my last words here before the game starts would be whether it's this game or any other game, if you know you're gonna watch it, but you don't really, really have a strong opinion, like just get in the habit of betting $5. Just get in the habit of doing it. Um, it's the best way to do it because as soon as you start betting just a bet, there's way too many things to bet on. And now because you can bet on your phone, it's just hard to stop. So that's my little speech. All right, I'll get out of here. Enjoy the game, everybody. What do we got? Orioles. It's the top of the third. Povich looks fantastic. Oh, great. He gives up a hit on the 0-2 pitch as I'm talking. So I should shut up and be done with it because he looks great. So I look forward to recapping that in the morning. But I do want to say one quick thing about the Orioles before I go because they just had the manager. So I don't want to forget this in the morning. The kid for the Braves, Schwellenbach and Povich were teammates, so they had the manager for Nebraska, who was their who coached both of them at the same time, and he was just talking. It was fascinating to hear him say. I think the question was, "When did you know Povich had it?" And that's I guess that's what I'm looking for, like looking for an edge, looking for trying to figure out something beyond the box score where you can say, hey, does this guy actually have it? Like, what are some things that you can figure out that aren't quite going to show up? And the way he was talking about how Povich handled himself after the pandemic and then after they clinched the big, whatever oh my God, great play by Gunner. Jeez, you know what? All right. Okay. Anyway, I'll blab more in the morning, but that was such a great play. Oh my God. But yeah, I would rewind if you possibly can to listen to that little interview. I thought it was really insightful. And Povich seems great. So I know it was hard on him on the first start, but seems great. Let's see if he can finish this out. And yeah, I have all my bets listed in case nobody listened to this. But if you did, great. Yeah, got the Mavs, got Derek Jones uh, over his points, over points and rebounds for Gafford, points, rebounds, and assists for Luca and Kyrie, and then over 108 and a half. Jesus, 108 and a half for the Mavs. So, all right. Good luck to everybody. See you guys in the morning.